staff rostering and contact hours recording in Juniorlogs. Once we've got all our staff details saved under staff educators table, like their contact details, qualification details, along with their registration details, the checks, police checks, first aid certificate expiry, and all the IDs that we've captured. All of that information will be saved under staff educators, and based on this information, when we bring up a roster, and if it's a blank roster, we haven't made any changes to it, this is how it would look typically. And all our qualified educators will show up at the top, which will also include their registration details. When you go right click, you will be able to see the relievers and your non-qualified educators as well, which you can also add to the roster if you wish to. Double click on it to actually go through the duty list. You can copy the duties over, assign the lunch time, and set up the roster this way. So it's easy to set up the roster and so on, and also copy it over. On the left, based on the time slot I've selected, what are my total booked hours looking like? How many under 2s, over 2s? What are my minimum staff requirements? And what are my requirements to gain maximum funding? So you'll see all those numbers listed here. And based on that, it's helpful and handy to have our roster planning hours saved accordingly. Now, a lot of the centers have a go-to roster. So if you have got something that's saved into the system already, you can simply copy it over to several days or even weeks. And once you make changes and save it to the roster, you will see the timings column going green, which means that you are 80% and above. Also on the top, you will see the qualified teacher ratio for the day, and you will also see the average for the entire pay period. Now, a couple of options from here. You can email out the roster to the educators, or you can also print it out in the weekly planner format. This is where you get to see at what time they start, lunch time, non-contact times, and so on. So there are a couple of formats that are available. Either you go with the planner format, or you can also go with the weekly timesheet format, which allows you to print it out and the staff can simply scribble on those timings as well as they go along during the week. So that's the roster planning sheet, how it looks like, and which can be copied over to a few days or several weeks if you wish to. Then we move to the contact hours recording page. What does it do? So it simply copies over the roster hours that you have saved, but then on top of it, you may have something going completely different to how it was actually planned. So if someone was away or you had to swap over the hours, you can do all of those changes here, including the discretionary hours count added to this as well, so that when you save to it, again you will be able to see the qualified teacher ratio, your average, how many discretionary hours that you've reused already from the given pay period. And once you make the changes, those are the hours that will get submitted for your upcoming RS7. Once you are happy with the changes you've made, simply print out the weekly timesheet from here, and it looks something like this. You can print it off and get your staff to sign on it to confirm the hours they have worked during the week. So that sums up the roster planning and the contact hours recording in Juniorlogs.